I received a letter from the Honourable WhangāreiTim Prime seeking to debate the Honourable Erica Stanford's use of personal email addresses to conduct ministerial business. This is a particular case. These rulings, when I'm standing on my feet, are heard without any interruption at all for fear that there may be a change of mind. Erica Stanford's use of personal email addresses to conduct ministerial business. This is a particular case of recent occurrence for which there is ministerial responsibility. The House has a duty to scrutinise the Executive to determine if it retains the confidence of the House. The conduct of ministers in relation to the Cabinet Manual is a matter primarily for the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Office. I do not think this matter has reached the level of urgency and importance to warrant setting aside the business of the House today. The application is declined.
I'm pleased to inform the member that Health New Zealand advises me that the number of patients waiting for a first specialist assessment in the week ending 13th of April has reduced by over 8,000 since the first week of January.
A supplementary. How does his decision to cancel bowel cancer screening for Māori and Pacifica from the age of 50 align with his target to faster cancer treatment for 90% patients when these groups have the highest rates of bowel cancer in the country, with 18% of cases diagnosed under the age of 50?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we're focusing on, as I said, on healthcare delivered on the basis of need. We are lowering the age for all New Zealanders to be able to access bowel cancer screening to the age of 58. We're also making targeted investments to target those communities, Māori, Pacifica, Asian communities, where they have lower bowel cancer screening rates, to lift those rates so that we can save as many lives as possible.
My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his government statements and actions?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes.
A supplementary. Does the Prime Minister believe that Māori health outcomes have improved since his government dismantled Te Aka Whai Ora?
Well, what I can say to the member is that we are making tremendous progress. We're investing more, hiring more. We've set real clarity around the targets of what we expect to deliver for Māori and for non-Māori. Now we need a high-performing Health New Zealand to deliver it.
Supplementary. What specific action has the government taken under his leadership to address inequities in life expectancy for Māori and non-Māori?
Well, I'm very proud of the 5 targets that we've set in healthcare. We want people to have faster access to cancer treatment, Māori or non-Māori. We want to make sure that under 2-year-olds, Māori or non-Māori, are immunised. We want to make sure there are less wait times for emergency departments, first specialist appointments and elective surgeries.
Supplementary. Does he consider it unacceptable that Māori die 7 years earlier than non-Māori?
Well, we've got to continue to work hard to close that gap.
Supplementary. How can the Prime Minister claim to govern for all New Zealanders when Māori health outcomes are deteriorating under this government?
Well, I would dispute the characterisation of that question. I said this government has set clear targets about what we expect the healthcare system to deliver for patients, Māori or non-Māori. This is a government that's invested record amounts of money in the healthcare system. It's a government that's recruiting and expanding the workforce in the healthcare system, and it's given tremendous clarity to the system as to what it's to deliver for patients. Now we need to crack on and build a high-performing Health New Zealand.
The Honourable Marama Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Prime Minister, e tautoko ana ia I ngā kōrero me ngā mahi katoa a tōna kāwanatanga.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes.
What does he say to Amber, a mother from Auckland, who recently shared with Auckland City Mission that, quote, "Our cupboard can look so empty. Some nights I don't eat. I'll make sure the kids have eaten heaps and then I save some for tomorrow night," end quote. And what is he doing to address food insecurity faced by whānau like Amber's?
Well, what we're doing, as I said before, is we want to grow our economy. We're fixated on growth, growth, growth. We don't believe the degrowth approach of the Green Party, for example, is the way in which we can get more money to Amber so that she can be supported with her food needs.
Will he acknowledge that if his government does not increase funding for food security measures in the upcoming budget, things will get worse for the 54.8% of Pacific children, the 34.3% of Māori children and the 41% of disabled children who are already disproportionately impacted by food insecurity.
Well, this is a government that focuses and spends $120 million to directly support Kiwis in need of food through the hardship grants available through MSD. But it's also a government that's fixing the economic fundamentals to make sure that we can get cash into Kiwis' back pockets. We're doing everything we can to grow, to run a great economy so that we can get cash through to people so they can deal with the cost of living.
Will the Prime Minister commit to lifting all families out of poverty through ensuring everyone in and out of work will have a decent weekly income so all tamariki have enough to eat?
Well, we're working incredibly hard to lift incomes, and the way we do that is through economic growth. It's as simple as that, and that's why every decision that we take in this government is through the prism of economic growth, because that matters above and beyond everything else. It's the way that we get cash into families' pockets.
Chloe Swarbrick.
To the Prime Minister, e tōtoko ana ia e ngā kōrero me ngā mahi katoa a tōna kāwanatanga.
Yes.
How exactly did the government find $12 billion for military spending while it's also telling us that there's simply not enough money to invest in ending child poverty or climate action?
Very easy. Well, I disagree. We can do both things at the same time. We can walk and chew gum. I just say to that member that who do you think are the people that go and help the Pacific in climate-related emergencies? Who are the people that actually support peacekeeping around the world? It's our Defence Force. So we're very proud of the investment that we're making in our defence assets. And at the same time, we're increasing expenditure on health and education, law and order, and also business growth.
Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does he stand by all of his government statements and actions?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes.
Supplementary. Why is his government willing to accept women in New Zealand being paid less than men for doing the same amount of work of the same value?
We're not. This is a government that's very committed to pay equity and ensuring that we do everything we can against sex-based discrimination.
Supplementary question. Why should any New Zealanders believe that his government is committed to ending gender-based pay discrimination when they're unilaterally cancelling pay equity claims for 34 different workforces covering of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people, mostly women?
Shame.
Well, what we're doing here is we're making sure that we actually have a process that's more robust, workable and sustainable. We're making the Act and the practice has moved away from what it was intended to deal with sex-based discrimination into a much broader set of issues around labour market conditions and other things. So we're bringing it back to its core purpose to deal with sex-based discrimination. That's a good thing.
Why should women across New Zealand...
Order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr Speaker, during the Prime Minister's answer, at least 10 members of the Labour Party have been screaming out their own questions, even though they've got supplementaries that they can have allocated to them. Could you please ask them to keep quiet?
What I would just suggest to them is that if they think the questions that are being asked are inadequate, they do take a supplementary at a different time. The Right Honourable Chris Hipkins might like to repeat his question.
Why should women across New Zealand be the sacrificial lambs in this year's budget, being told they have to accept lower pay for the same value work compared to their male counterparts?
Well, that is just, I don't agree with that question and the way that was phrased. That we are staying very committed to pay equity, and we're staying committed to sex-based discrimination. We're making sure we're just tightening up this law. If individuals or unions have claims to make, they can make claims under this new law. The government has set money aside to meet those obligations, and we will do that. But we want a much more workable, sustainable, robust system.
There is always a degree of robustness between the exchanges of the Leader of the Opposition and the Prime Minister that's somewhat been happening for years, but that barracking has got to stop. It's far too much. It is certainly not inconsiderable. Nor is it rare, reasonable or witty.